Okay, so we know how to present ourselves with something. Now, how do we read? How do we read the other side of the emanating voice? So, to recap, exhale, present ourselves with something, don't have to do anything. Alan Watts describes the soul, or the me. He likes to say, who is it that you mean when you say I? And I like that question. Who is it that you mean when you say I? Do you mean your soul? Do you mean your body? Do you mean your DNA? Do you mean your kind of life as if you're talking about brain signal, a heartbeat, kind of legal definition of life? Who is it that you mean when you say I? And his proposal is that what we mean when we say I is a clenched fist. That really, there's something happening all around us. I call it the miraculous unfolding, that there is an unfolding all around us. These plants grew. Sage grew. He was a baby 4 months ago, and look how big he is now. I'm growing. My kids are growing. Things are dying. These plants are going to die. I'm going to die. Sage is going to die. But there's this unfolding. Before us came people. Before that came animals. Before that came planets. Before that came atoms. Before that came a plasma that was permeating all of everything. At least this is what the Big Bang says. So I like to say, there's a miraculous unfolding. So unfolding, I think, is undeniable. Miraculous maybe is a little subjective. If you're going to talk about miracles, now you're getting into spirituality. If you don't want to be tied to one religion, now you're getting into new agey type of energy, type of foo-foo stuff. But here's the thing. To me, all language about the ultimate reality, all language about that which beyond which there is no witcher, our deepest things. Come on, boy. Come on, boy. All language about the deepest stuff is metaphor. And that's my opinion. You can agree with me or disagree with me. But I think my stance is, how could we, as a limited human, let's say I get 70 to 150 years, let's see how technology unfolds, on a particular place in this country at a particular time, 2019, with a particular set of information. We have the internet, we have Albert Einstein, but we don't have whoever's going to come 100 years from now. How could I presume to speak of ultimate reality, of ultimate everything precisely? How could I presume that that's even one of the options? Let's take all the possible ideologies: Christianity, Islam, New Agey, Buddhism, secular, scientific material. Let's take them all. See Seiji back there? What would make me presume that any of them are like, bing, 100% you got it? To me, I settle more in the idea that all language for ultimate reality is metaphor. And that's why ultimately, to me, I get tied up in the idea of beauty, in that if it's all metaphor, how do we judge which one's righter than the other? To me, I believe it comes down to an aesthetic choice, and ultimately the judge is beauty. But we'll save that for another day. Here, we're talking about a clenched fist. So let's say there's this unfolding that's happening everywhere. And if you're into mystical stuff like me, it's a miraculous unfolding. Alan Watts says, who is it that you mean when you say I? His answer is, what you mean is a clenched fist. In that technically, the you, the condensed you, the id, the ego, the self, the soul, the me, is like a compression of happening. It's a compression of energy. It's a compression of consciousness. It's a clenchingness. It's a squeezed downness of energy. Imagine a lightning bolt cutting through the sky. There's a concentration of energy there. So Alan Watts believes that what we are, when we say I, is a clenched fist, that we're some clinging together of energy, some balling together of energy. And this isn't a bad thing. This is central to who we are. But what he proposes is that we take that clenched fist and we open it up. He says that nirvana, the Buddhist word for transcendence, enlightenment, translates to something like breath, and he translates it to something like exhale, something like, which I think is kind of cool. But the Buddhism topic is for another day. Come on, buddy. Seiji, come on. So, we look at this. As Alan Watts would say, we exhale. The energy from this comes to us. It becomes entangled up with us, and then we just study ourselves. So why don't I just do it? Quit talking and do it. So, if I put this in front of me, so when I read myself, what I get is kind of pretty good, I get it kind of low down here and kind of mellow. So it's sort of like it makes me feel good. It's not overstimulating. It's not overexciting. It's not like the coolest thing I've ever seen. It doesn't repulse me, but it's kind of a good, cool mellow. So when I put it in front of me, I feel it kind of down in here, and I think I feel the greens, but I feel almost more teal as well. Let me see. You know, something like this. Can I get these colors? Yeah, almost like that. See how that's like dark and greenish? I feel that in kind of a square here in my body, and it makes me feel good. Maybe I'd equate it to the memory of an ice cream sandwich on a padded couch on a back patio on a 60-degree evening in the Midwest. That's what this makes me feel like deep inside of me. So the point is learning how to read yourself. You don't have to be as elaborate, you know, as theatrical as that, listing something specific, but basically just start with even binary. Yes, no. Let's do it one at a time with these flowers. Boom. I say no. See how it's all kind of whimpery and deady? I mean, maybe some of you like that, but to me, I'm like, oh, that guy looks dead. Oh, this guy's even worse. So now when I'm trying to do binary yes or no, so far both of these I pull them up, and my first thought, my gut reaction is ugh. And I think it's because some of the deadness there. Now, of course, I could dwell on this further and appreciate something about it. I could consider the energy that went into making this leaf and the beauty and blah, blah, blah. But the emanating voice isn't really about that. The emanating voice is about gut reaction. You put it in front of yourself, you're relaxed, and you react. And you don't have to do anything to react. You'll always react. If somebody walks in a room, you'll have a reaction to them. You'll have a gut reaction to them. The emanating voice is basically just learning to listen to that, learning to read it, learning to take a thermometer in there and pull it out, learning to put a ruler and have a 1 to 10 of it. So that's the emanating voice. You present yourself with something, you naturally react to it, and then you just pay attention to what happens. Do you kind of feel tension up in here? That's how I know I don't like it. Do I get the taste of sourness in my mouth? You know, what happens when somebody scares you and it makes you feel not good? Whatever those sorts of things are, dogs running away. That's what we're looking for.